Welcome to A Cupful with myself, Tshegetso Mwebi, a safe space to unearth, explore, learn, heal, and grow while navigating the ups and downs of life. Together, we will learn different perspectives and expose ourselves to the newness that comes with wanting to become the best versions of ourselves, to truly pour into ourselves, ultimately thrive and enjoy the peace that comes with focusing on a healthy and balanced existence. An opportunity to focus on tending to our overall well-being. Here's to filling your cup. Hi community, welcome to this week's episode of A Cupful. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope we are all well, or at least taking each day as it comes. Either one is perfectly fine. You don't have to push yourself to feel a certain kind of way. You know how I feel about acknowledging your feelings and acknowledging the space that you find yourself in. I'm definitely in my embracing season and era. I'm embracing life for what it is, embracing the challenges, even when it feels like they are never ending, embracing the goodness that life is, and embracing the shift that life is too, the consistent or the constant shift that life is as well. Embracing the opportunities, embracing my relationship with God, embracing opportunities to meet new people and cultivating healthy connections, embracing the moments, all of them. My heart just feels very open and ready to embrace the newness of a new season. A season of abundance, more growth, more fun, more peace, more laughter, more organic experiences, more love, more connecting in my existing relationships, and just more connecting with myself. I will say that I have really found so much peace in embracing that this is the season that I'm in and in accepting that. And I've also found that it has been so much easier for me to be grateful for the things that I have and the things that are happening for me. I am always also thinking that no matter whatever is happening looks like, it's in my favor. It's happening in my favor. It might be something positive and it might be something negative, but I'm always just really keeping myself going by saying the things that are happening in my life are happening in my favor and things are always going to work out for me. And really that has helped me so much. It has helped settle my mind. I don't have these constant racing thoughts about my future and about whether I'm going to succeed or not, because I struggled a lot with that last year. But those things are, I know now. I think I've always known that those things are inevitable. Like things like my success and things like me thriving the way I want to thrive, those are inevitable things. And what I'm really trying to do is be present in my own life. I'm not trying to rush to get the next thing done anymore. I'm really trying to be in sync with the season that I'm in, and it requires me to move with a lot of intention, to really be focused, to be grateful, and to express that gratitude, whether it's through prayer or whether it is through just affirming myself or whatever it looks like. I'm really trying to do more of that, really just being present and being alive and being grateful, because there is so much to be grateful for, and it's taken a lot of time for me to get here, and I'm really happy that I am here. Everything is special. Everything that I have in my life is special, it's important, and it deserves to be celebrated. So yes, as you can hear, I have definitely been in a good place, a place where I feel like I am exactly where I'm meant to be, and I just want to be present. I want to be here. I want to learn what I need to learn. I want to take away whatever I need to take away. I want to collect the correct tools and resources and prepare myself for whatever that is coming, the goodness, the blessings that are coming. I want to know how to handle things right. And the only way I can do that is if I'm willing to learn and to really be present. I spent a lot of time in the past few months really thinking about what I want my growth and prioritizing myself to look like in this season of my life, and how I would in essence honor or respect myself in the decisions I would be making, which is what inspired today's episode, and that's what I'm talking about today. That's what this episode is all about. Honoring yourself in the decisions that you make. How I got here was from being in a place where I was just releasing and forgiving myself and forgiving others and moving on from things that really required me to move on from them. Just letting go, because even though I didn't know it yet, I was preparing for this new season I'm in. It feels very fresh, it feels very new, where I feel so light and ready to receive the goodness that awaits me in every moment, in every single way. I'm really here and I can feel myself, and it feels really good to be here, to be able to say that, being as honest as possible. I feel really good about where I'm at, and I think it has helped as well that I've really been intentional about being more aware of myself and my feelings and even my state of mind. And I've done a lot of that by connecting with myself and spending time doing the things that would ground me and allow me to become more aware of myself and of my feelings and even my state of mind, and also spending time doing less of things that were taking away from those opportunities. So something like cutting down on drinking, I think that personally it was not giving me an opportunity to be self-aware and to be aware of how I'm feeling and to be able to identify my feelings. And it was also affecting my state of mind to a certain extent, being around certain people and being in certain places. Those were also taking away from the process of really connecting with myself. So it has helped that I've been intentional about really being honest as well about what is taking away from me being able to be in tune with myself, in sync with myself, more aware of myself, and then really moving towards the things that were adding to that. So I'm really happy that I've given myself an opportunity to feel more, to experience more of my feelings and really be able to identify them through something like therapy. Therapy has really helped me identify my feelings. And again, I always say this, I feel really fortunate to have access to something like that, because it is a luxury, it is not free. And when you do have the opportunity, please do use it. Reach out for help. If you can afford it, please reach out for help. Therapy definitely does help. But yes, therapy is definitely one of the things that has helped for me. And I'm really I'm happy that I am more aware of the things that have been influencing my state of mind, my state of being, and even the role that I was playing in my progress or in my me being set back constantly. It became evident that there was yet another layer that existed that I needed to address, and wow, yet another realization. And I will be honest and say I was disappointed, because I thought I had my shit together. I really did. But you know what's really good about wanting to learn just in general and wanting to grow and understanding that it won't be a perfect road, is that you are less likely to be disappointed. Or let me not say you're less likely to be disappointed. Let me not say you're less likely to be disappointed. I guess you're going to be able to deal with it a lot better. And I think that's what's happening at the moment for me. But before, I was dealt with disappointment because I thought, especially with starting this podcast, I was like, okay, I've got my shit together. I know exactly what I'm doing. But no, not really. And that's kind of what you have to expect as a person when you are actively choosing to really just work on yourself and afford yourself a better quality of life in terms of emotional stability and emotional peace and mental stability and peace, and even physical stability and peace, and financial stability and peace. There's a lot of work that's going to go into that. There are going to be some stumbling blocks, there are going to be some challenges, but eventually everything works out. And also, it's not a destination. As I always say, it's a journey. It's a lifelong journey. But anyways, I thought I had this growing, healing, and making my well-being a priority all figured out. But I know now that that isn't how things work, and that there are layers to our existence and experiences, and those are not things that can be addressed over a year only. The layers are not something that you're going to address over a year or 2 or even 10 or even 20. As we move through life, we are going to address the layers as we need to, and we're going to realize that now is the time to address this layer, because also sometimes it isn't the time yet, or you haven't reached a place in your life where you see the need, or where something has happened and you understand that this is something that you need to work on. Sometimes you just haven't grown yet and you haven't reached that point in your life. But in general, it requires time and patience. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter when it's happening in your life. You still need to be patient about it and be conscious that it's also going to require some time for you to work through that. There also isn't a need to rush the process, because apart from having to address different layers slowly over time, there is also having to deal with how life will continue changing. Circumstances will continue changing, and as an individual, you are going to keep evolving. We're all going to keep evolving, which means you have to make space for that and to allow yourself to experience the growth and healing that you need from those moments or places in your life. And that's the thing about life also. There's always something that you need to heal from, or there will always be a chapter that will require you to grow in. Life is a journey of learning how to balance everything out, and that on its own is a huge task. And that has been such a huge general takeaway over the last year and a half, and I also definitely needed to factor that in when thinking about what I wanted growth to look like for me, and then prioritizing myself. And like I said before, just in general, honoring myself in the decisions or the choices that I make. It also truly challenged me, and really continues to do so, because of how much shedding has had to happen. I don't even know where to begin with how hard letting go and releasing has been. Not just people, but feelings and emotions and experiences that I was keeping in, I'm going to call them compartments, in my mind, in my heart, in my spirit. And I didn't realize how much I was carrying with me. When I started this podcast, the intention was mostly to share my own experiences of healing and growing. And at that time, in that season that I was in, I really thought, I think I've done a lot of work. I think I've done enough work to be in a place where I'm like, okay, I'm comfortable enough to share all of this, or I'm comfortable enough to learn different perspectives or share different perspectives. But I didn't quite realize how much I needed to release, and how much I needed to forgive myself and forgive other people, and just be intentional about moving forward with my life. Because if I'm being honest, there was a lot of stagnancy and a lot of waiting for, people to come back into my life, to rekindle relationships, a lot of waiting for me to feel better than what I was feeling, just a lot of waiting for career growth and waiting for spiritual growth. And there was just a lot of waiting, and there was just a lot of standing still for me. And I have felt really challenged over time in terms of having to let go. But I'm glad that that's something that I really introduced, like seriously introduced and embraced, releasing. And I'm really grateful that I can say right now that I've given myself an opportunity to let go of the things that I needed to let go, that were hindering me moving forward, and that did not look like me honoring myself in my decision making. I was stagnant and I wasn't making the best decisions for myself. I was holding on to a lot of feelings and people and things that needed to go. So how has that looked like for me? I really wanted to share that. Perhaps someone could resonate with it. Perhaps you need to release in the ways that I have, or maybe you need to release in different ways, and this might be helpful. So firstly, in being self-aware, the way I needed to be in preparation for what I wanted to do for myself required me to be honest about the role I continued to play in stifling my own growth and not putting myself first the way I needed to. Right now, that has looked like letting go of people that I needed to release because we are on different journeys and I could not take them into this chapter or season with me, nor could I take them with me moving forward in general. No hatred, no beef. It is and will always be love, but our time together has come to an end. And this has been particularly difficult for me, especially because the people I've had to part ways with are family and friends that I thought would be in my life forever. And reconciling that was really hard for a very long time. But I really started understanding that I would be holding myself back if I insisted on holding on to certain relationships, to certain things, to certain emotions, certain moments that happened that traumatized me, that I held onto out of being traumatized, and that I didn't release because I was afraid of, now what? What happens now when I release this? Now what? I'm just going to be lonely and I'm going to feel lonely. And you know what? Sometimes that's so important when you're on your journey. It's also just going to be a part of the process where you are going to feel lonely after releasing certain things because they were your place of comfort. They were your familiarity. That's what you got used to. But to welcome the new means to release the old. Secondly, in keeping the promises that I make to myself, even if that means other people coming second and me being okay with that. This has also been really challenging for me to wrap my head around because in my approach and many things, I always want to be accommodating and understanding that, okay, maybe I have a role to play here. But when I've reflected on a lot of the times, looking back in the ways that I've been accommodating, it was at the detriment of my own commitments to myself. And in this season of my life, I'm realizing that there is absolutely no space for that. I cannot. It's an absolute no for me to put the needs of others first when my own commitments are falling behind or they are falling away. I also understand that I've really needed to and need to continue being firm when it comes to the boundaries that I set, not only when it comes to others but with myself too, financially, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. Recently, that has looked like sticking to my routine and not changing it around to accommodate other people, especially when it is not a life-threatening situation or circumstance. If I don't need to urgently be there, if it's not an appointment that I've made in advance, then I shouldn't want to be as accommodating as I have always been and as just overly extending myself. It really feels good. It feels so good. It feels like the weight of the world has been lifted off my shoulders. It has also looked like not discussing my personal endeavors with people that I don't need to because I'm no longer looking for anyone's approval. Keyword being approval. I said in a previous episode that I struggled with people pleasing for a long time, and it really feels like I've released that from myself. I've allowed myself to move forward towards being a more assertive tshegetso and towards seeking my own approval and my own approval alone, especially when it comes to really, really important things in my life. Do I seek support from my loved ones? Of course. Do I seek advice where necessary from my loved ones? Of course. And that is important to me. It's very, very valuable, because sometimes I will need that. But at the end of the day, the person who makes the final decisions is me, and I'm glad that I'm content with that. I used to speak about really personal things with just about anyone, and by this I mean even people that did not need to be hearing my business like that, simply because I needed the external validation and approval. But not anymore, and I'm so proud of myself for really identifying the internal issues that was rooted in and working on them, so that I did not have to go down the same road and experience the same regret repeatedly. I can confidently say I am content with myself enough to know what I can share with who and what I should not be sharing at all. Thirdly, in sticking it through with my career endeavors and really seeing it through. With this, I'm specifically referring to the podcast and my other career dreams. There is so much work, patience, passion, resilience, and time that goes into making a success of anything, really. And I have realized that podcasting is just the same as are all the other things I'm involved with. An absolute shocker, right? No, but seriously, putting myself first and prioritizing myself has definitely also looked like this. Just really understanding that I need to stick it through. That sometimes that's just how things are going to look. It's not going to be easy all the time. It probably won't be easy most of the time. And that really, in wanting to put myself first and really prioritizing my own well-being and making myself happy, I need to stick it through when it comes to the things that I want to achieve. The challenges, frustrations, stagnancy, and loneliness have obviously had me questioning everything, but now I've chosen to see it as me being bent, twisted, and being molded into shape in preparation for the future, and that I can definitely accept. That there will be challenges, but that shouldn't be the reason why I give up on fulfilling my purpose and pursuing my dreams. And I definitely think that this is a part of my purpose, being here in this season of my life and doing this on this podcast, on my podcast, on a podcast that I get to share with everyone who listens and everyone who supports it. So there's not a chance that I'm going to give up on that. Remember that nothing worth having will come easy, and that there will be many challenges, but at the end of the day, that opportunity has your name on it. You must just be willing to be patient enough and work hard enough to reach your destination. The fourth thing has definitely, for me, been only inviting people into my life who I really want there and who really want to be there too. I am already so blessed with wonderful people that have such beautiful hearts and are just delightful to be around. And they're just the biggest blessings. And I've decided that I want to add to that in moments where that can happen and where there is space for that to happen. If a friendship is meant to bloom, then I want the other person to want that just as much as I do. I know that I have previously been overly accommodating and inconsiderate of my own needs in different kinds of relationships. And in this case, because I'm speaking of friendship, in friendships as well, but I don't want that anymore. This season really requires me to stand firm in what I say I'm going to do and who I am promising myself I'm going to be for myself and for others. I've realized... When am I not realizing, actually? Oh my goodness. I'm always realizing stuff. I have realized that there are things that I want for myself that no one else can give to me but me. A good quality of life, emotionally, physically, mentally, even financially to a certain extent, that is all on me. Good, healthy relationships. I am the one that must choose the people that are right for me and good for me, that will want to participate in building a solid and strong bond with me. feeling good about myself, I need to cultivate that for myself, and none of it is on anyone else. So I have decided that the quality of life I want, I will have, and I will be intentional about getting it, as we should all be. And I hope that that's what all the girls want for themselves. You deserve to have all the goodness, wholesomeness, and healthiness in your life. And you deserve to put yourself first. Don't forget that, even when the going gets tough. This is where we are ending this week's episode. Thank you again for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Please remember that A Cupful is available on all listening platforms. So tell a friend to tell a friend to tell their friend to give it a listen, please. You can also find it on Instagram using the handle at @A_cupful to keep up to date with all things that have to do with the podcast. Have a beautiful remainder of this week. Rest when you need to, work when you need to, look in the mirror and say nice and uplifting things to yourself. Be grateful for the goodness in your life. Nourish your body and mind, and keep doing the things that fill your cup.